WIBTA if I do not turn off the cameras in my house when my mother is watching my son? I, 28M, and my wife, 28F, have almost a 4-month-old son. When we bought our home 4 years ago, we installed cameras around the perimeter of the house, as well as 2 cameras facing the only 2 doors leading into the house. These indoor cameras are in the kitchen, facing the back door, and in the TV, living room facing the front door. There are no cameras in the bedrooms, other than one in the nursery facing his crib. It may be important to note that this is the first grandbaby on both sides of the family. My wife went back to work after her 3 months maternity leave. My mother would come almost every week for a day or 2 to help out when my wife was home. She would watch the baby when my wife got out of the house for a few hours to run errands, or help with laundry, or watch the baby while my wife cleaned. Now my Phil, 64M, comes Sunday night and stays until we get home from work on Wednesday. My mother comes Wednesday night and leaves when we get home from work on Friday. My mother, 60F, has demanded, the inside cameras be turned off when she is watching him. She argues that, you would not want to be watched all the time at work. Why should I? It's unnerving, don't you trust me? My wife on the other hand is adamant about keeping them on. She argues that, we're not spying, we're checking in. She did not have a problem when your mom and I were home together. What's different now other than me not being there? My wife has this app that tracks his feedings and sleep patterns. Doing so gives really accurate heads up when he should be hungry and when he needs a nap. So far, it has been dead accurate, only because my wife tracks his patterns so concisely. My wife has requested that both Phil and my mother message her when he wakes, goes to sleep, and feeds, so that she can keep track of it. The Phil does great keeping track and updating my wife, but my mother will message 3 hours after he wakes up and vaguely says, he woke up a while back, etc., etc. I understand we are getting free childcare. Both Phil and my mother expressed many times that they aren't doing this as a favor, chore, obligation, but want to spend time with their first grandbaby. My mother started making requests, demands. For example, my wife has the option to WFH 1 day a week. 1 week she got her eyelashes done on a Friday during her lunch, since the person she goes to has no weekend option. So she WFH that Friday, which surprised my mother when she didn't go to work. My mother said that she didn't need to be there then, could have left Thursday night, and that we shouldn't be running errands when she's there. Basically, my wife feels that she is treating this like she is doing us this great service, rather than treating it as spending time with her grandson, which is what she says she is doing. So, AITA to my mom if I do not turn off the cameras. WIBTA if I do not listen to my wife. YTA, you two are getting 24-hour-a-day childcare MF for free. As a bonus, it is being done by people that genuinely care about your son. This is priceless. You could not buy this type of care with all the money in the world. Yes, I am sure your mother and Phil enjoy spending time with their grandchild, but what they are doing goes so far beyond that. There is a major difference between spending time with a baby and being the primary caretaker multiple days a week every week. Not to mention being away from their own homes and lives to do so. You and your wife both seem to be blind to the fact that they are doing you a huge service that most grandparents would not be willing to do. You don't have to give in to whatever they ask. You are still the parents, but if you want them to continue providing this service, you need to meet them halfway on some things. If you have any question in your mind about the magnitude of what they are providing, look into the cost of a live-in nanny. NTA, the cameras aren't facing your mother, they are facing the door. She's not being watched, the door is being recorded for security purposes. It is you and your wife's home, and if you want the cameras to make sure your house is secure, then have them. At this point it sounds like your mom is not respecting you and your wife as the parents. I get she might not agree with constantly tracking everything, but she's not the parent in this situation. You need to start deciding which is more important to you both: free childcare or holding your mom accountable to your style of parenting. It does sound like she sees it as doing you both a favor. If that's true, she will most likely continue to have more and more requests. Nah, I don't blame your mom for not wanting to be watched and recorded. I would flat out refuse personally. I also agree if your wife is WFH and has time to go get her nails done, she likely doesn't need to sleep over. Yes, they want to see their grandchild, but once it is expected and controlled down to the second, it's just likely to start feeling like work. Also, I must say you don't seem very appreciative, and she may feel taken advantage of and micromanaged. I understand your child is young and you are nervous, but if you want this favor you may have to give a bit. Otherwise, just hire a baby, and ensure they are comfortable being watched all day. Nah, you guys have bigger problems than the cameras. Your mom is not on the same page as to childcare. If one of things required is it update maps, feeding, etc. with specific times and in a timely manner, and that's not happening, your mother isn't respecting your care instructions. You mom also thinks that WFH means that the baby doesn't need to childcare. She needs to understand that work is still happening and childcare is needed. You and your wife need to update her on the schedule and have rules around childcare on WFH days. Does your wife take over a lot of the care on the WFH days? If so, your mom may feel like she isn't needed. You have parents are both changing their routines, lives to come and stay with you for childcare. Your mom is sleeping over and feels uncomfortable staying there because of the cameras. If she gets up for a snack at night, has to itch herself, you guys can see this, and she is probably viewing it as she has no privacy where she is. Can you turn them off at when you are all home outside of when she is home alone providing childcare? I've been in this situation. It's your house, you can leave the cameras on, but your mom has a right to feel weird about being checked in on. It would be creepy to a majority of people not knowing if they're being watched, even if they know they are doing everything correctly. You suck for that. I suck for that too. I was in this exact situation, but all in all, this isn't your biggest problem. Your mom sucks because she is doing this for more reasons than she is letting on. She wants to feel needed by you, but on her terms, that makes her suck. Your wild family will be better off if you get a nanny or daycare and just allow grandparents to spend a few hours on the weekend. When the lines between family and childcare get blended, there is a good chance it doesn't end well. It almost always doesn't end well when you are strict and regimented about schedules. Good luck, Op.